The mystery continues to deepen in Dharmasthala, the revered temple town of Karnataka that is now witnessing some dark and deeply disturbing findings. Last week, we got you a report on how some human remains were found at one of the excavation sites. That was site number 6. The latest update we have at this point is from what is being called site number 11A, where some more human remains have been found. Now, in case you're tuning into this case for the first time, the SIT is probing the claims made by a whistleblower. Now, this man has claimed that he was forced to bury hundreds of dead bodies in Dharmasthala between 1995 and 2014. This SIT was formed by the Karnataka government later on once the whistleblower's claims came to light in late June. The whistleblower is a Dalit man about 50 years old now and someone who worked as a sanitation worker at the Dharmasthala temple during that time between 1995 and 2014. The man also claimed that he was threatened by superiors if he did not follow their orders of burying these bodies. A special investigation team had taken charge of this alleged mass burial case last month. The SIT identified 13 alleged burial spots based on the whistleblower's allegations. Because remember, the whistleblower said he was willing to take the officials to these spots where he had buried his bodies, and he also said that he wants protection under the law, that his identity should remain anonymous. The exhumation process finally began last week, and the first breakthrough was achieved by the SIT on the 31st of July. And yesterday, there has been another development. So in this video, we'll take a look at that, along with a fresh set of claims made by another man, and also the dangers that the media is facing after reporting this story from Dharmasthala. Hello and welcome, I'm Shubham Chauhan. Let's get started. Now, before we proceed, we are adding the first 2 videos we did on Dharmasthala in the link below. The first video in particular would help set the context and establish the background of this horrifying story for you. So take a look at those videos. Now let's look at the updates we have at this point. Reports say the SIT has found several human remains and a sari at one of the alleged mass burial sites in Dharmasthala on Monday. The News Minute said that these were found near spot 11, close to the Netravati river. Now, as per the SIT's original schedule, Monday was when the 11th spot out of the 13 shortlisted ones would be excavated. Yesterday, once the team reached the spot along with the whistleblower, the man said he requested the officials to excavate at a nearby spot, which what some media reports are calling Site 11A. And that site, 11A, is where these human remains have been discovered. Now, there's no official word from the SIT on how many remains these are or to whom they belong. These would be clear only after a forensic examination is done, although Deccan Herald has provided some details of these remains. Citing sources, their report says that around 100 bones and a skull were among the remains that were found by the officials. These included a long spinal column. SIT officials said that these were found about 100 meters away from the 11th site. Prima facie, these recovered remains suggest that it may belong to 2 people. In addition to these human remains and bones, a red sari with a knot was found at the end of the tree at the site. This is being suspected as a suicide knot and could possibly be that of a male who might have ended this life. Again, all of this can only be confirmed after a forensic examination that will determine the cause and timing and how these deaths came to be. So far, the SIT investigating this alleged burial case has excavated 10 sites. Monday's recovery, which we just told you about, is the second instance of skeletal remains being found during the probe. The first time human remains were found was on the 3rd day of the excavation process, and that was at site number 6. Those remains too have been sealed and sent for forensic examination. Meanwhile, rains continue to hamper the excavation process as 2 to 3 sites of excavation are yet to be done. So the story is far from over because it remains to be seen what happens once the SIT has completed the excavation process and how the story proceeds from there on. Meanwhile, a fresh complaint has been lodged at the Dharmasthala police station on Monday. An individual has filed a complaint regarding the mysterious death of a teenage girl that took place more than 1.5 decades ago. He had alleged that the girl's body, which was found in a decomposed state, was buried without any legal procedures. The complaint was filed by a man called Jayant, who is a social activist and a resident of Ichilampadi in Belthangadi Taluk. Reports say that the activist had visited the SIT office in Belthangadi on Saturday to lodge his complaint and submit details of this case. He later told reporters, around 15 years ago, a girl aged between 13 and 15 died under suspicious circumstances in Dharmasthala village. I saw the body which was in a partially decomposed state. No postmortem was conducted. A week after I filed a complaint, the body was buried. It was not disposed of through legal means and no FIR was registered. The murder was covered up. I don't know who committed the murder, but I will show the location of where the body was buried to the SIT. Now, as we record this video, the SIT has not officially commented on this complaint filed by the social activist, but Dakshin Kannada SP Dr. Arun K confirmed that the man's complaint has been received and further necessary action would be taken. Now let's move on to another key aspect of this case. Ever since the whistleblower's claim came out in late June, only a handful of media outlets have been pursuing this mass burial case rigorously from the ground. On the 19th of July, Dharmasthala temple administrator and Rajya Sabha MP Virendra Hegde's brother D. Harshendra Kumar sought the court's intervention, and the plea was filed to stop the media from reporting this case. A local court then directed the removal of 8,842 links published by 338 media outlets regarding the alleged mass burials in Dharmasthala. The order was passed by Justice Vijaya Kumar Rai B, who presides over the 10th Additional City and Civil Sessions Court, and she was one who passed this order in the regard. And this was in fact on the same day that Kumar's case was registered. So the case was registered on one day, on the 19th of July, and the same day the court passed a gag order. A few days later, a journalist and a few activists challenged this gag order by the court. Naveen Surenje, Munir Katipala, Bhairappa Harish Kumar jointly challenged this gag order in the same court. They wanted the court to relook this gag order. After all, the media is well within its right to report on this case responsibly by stating the facts as is. On 2nd August, Naveen Surenje wrote a letter to their advocate S. Balan, and therein the journalist said that the judge who passed the gag order had studied at a college in Bengaluru which was run by the Dharmasthala Manjunatheshwara Trust, which is effectively run by the Hegde family. He also pointed out that the judge, that is Judge Rai, had worked as a junior lawyer at a law firm headed by P.P. Hegde, which had represented Virendra Hegde in several cases in the past, basically pointing to a clear case of conflict of interest. But the judge who passed a gag order in favor of Virendra Hegde's brother was actually associated or connected to them in one way or the other, like we just pointed out. Now, consequently, the judge has asked the case to be moved to another court, and it is now up to the principal city civil sessions judge and who will decide which court will hear this case. Even as the Dharmasthala alleged mass burial case continues with new twists and turns and new developments emerging almost every day, and the media continues to report on it with full responsibility, yet huge legal threats. That's all we have for this report. Thanks for watching.